Hello, everyone. Today we will explore a fascinating topic, human interactions from a philosophical perspective. Have you ever wondered why humans form groups and participate in politics? Let's find out. Groups do not exist. They are just people who share common interests. A group is not something you can see, touch, or hold with your hands as you would a physical object, like a chair or table. Instead, a group is an abstract entity that is formed due to the interaction and perception of people. It is based on the way people identify and relate to each other due to common interests, shared goals, shared beliefs, or other social ties. For example, consider a book club. The book club itself is not a physical object. You can't see it or touch it. Instead, the book club is a social construct made up of people who share a common interest in reading and meet regularly to discuss books. The group exists only to the extent that people identify with it and participate in its activities. Philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau postulated that humans form groups because of shared interests, such as a passion for music. These groups can manifest themselves at festivals, concerts, and fan clubs. By being alive, we are political animals in a party. Political dynamics involving negotiation, competition, and decision-making are found in all aspects of life. It is not limited to government policy. Even in everyday situations, such as work, friendships, and personal relationships, there are political interactions. For example, in a conversation between friends about where to have dinner, there may be a decision-making process that involves negotiation and persuasion. This highlights that politics is present both in the work environment and in personal relationships. At work, companies have hierarchical structures that reflect internal policies, such as the distribution of roles and decision-making in the company. In personal relationships, people often negotiate, influence, and make decisions that affect the dynamics of those relationships. For example, in the business context, companies typically have an organizational hierarchy that reflects the company's internal policy. This means that decisions are made at different levels of the hierarchy, and the structure of the organization can influence who has power and who does not. For example, a manager may have more influence on decision-making than a lower-level employee, reflecting company policy. Democracy works because there are many groups fighting each other. Democracy is similar to the capitalist economic system, where each entity has a role to play. This ensures a balance of economic power. The comparison of democracy with the capitalist economic system refers to the idea that in a democratic society, just as in a capitalist system, different entities such as companies, organizations, interest groups play specific roles that resemble the economic actors in a market. Each of these entities has a role in the political process and decision-making, and this contributes to maintaining a balance of power in the political context as well as in the economic one. In a capitalist system, companies and organizations compete in a market to produce goods and services, generating wealth and economic growth. Each company has a market niche and a set of specific products or services, and competition in the market is essential. In a democracy, entities can represent different interests, such as political parties, pressure groups, non-governmental organizations, among others. Each entity has a role in the political process and defends its particular interests and values. Like companies in a capitalist market, these entities have specific roles in decision-making and policy formulation. When comparing democracy with the capitalist economic system, the importance of balancing political and economic power in society is highlighted. In a democracy, political competition and the representation of different interests are essential to avoid excessive concentration of power. Similarly, in a capitalist system, market competition and the existence of multiple companies help prevent excessive concentration of economic power. Philosophers, such as John Locke, influenced the idea of democracy as a system that encourages participation and collaboration. If there were no groups in conflict, it would not be democracy. Without competition, for example, stopping voting, it would be a dictatorship. Hannah Arendt was a political philosopher who analyzed the importance of political participation and group formation in a society. She warned that when there is no active participation of political groups and healthy political struggle, society runs the risk of losing its freedoms and falling into authoritarian or dictatorial regimes. When talking about the absence of political groups, it refers to the lack of organizations, political parties, social movements, or interest groups that represent and defend diverse opinions and values in society. Without these groups, the plurality of voices and perspectives is drastically reduced. Arendt noted that when political groups cannot function or are suppressed, it opens the door to the concentration of power in the hands of an individual or a small group. This can be seen in historical examples, such as dictatorial regimes, where one leader or party controls all institutions and suppresses opposition. Notorious examples include regimes such as Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union under Stalin. Philosophers such as John Locke influenced the idea of democracy as a system that encourages participation and collaboration. You don't need to spend your entire life in politics to realize that things will never be exactly the way you want. However, this idea highlights the importance of participation and constructive struggle in a democratic society. Encourage audiences to apply these ideas in their own lives to promote democracy and healthy interactions. I hope this video helped you see human interactions from a philosophical perspective. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video to encourage wider discussion.